Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jax the King, and today I'm going to be presenting a $400 gaming PC for all of you guys. This comes with all the mandatory parts. Doesn't come with Windows, but you know there's other ways you can get that. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I have a few benchmarks to show you guys. The first one is GTA 5. It runs GTA 5 at 60 FPS at medium settings at 900p. It runs Minecraft at about 800 FPS on max settings at 1080p. It runs the new Hitman game at 50 FPS, max settings, 1080p. And it runs Bioshock Infinite at 50 FPS, max settings, 1080p. I know Bioshock's not the most demanding game, but that's one of the games I had, so I just thought I'd have it. Okay, so for the first part, we have the processor, or the CPU. I chose the AMD FX 6300, and in my opinion, is the best budget processor out there. It's clocked really high at 3.5 GHz, and it has 6 cores, which means it has great multitasking. And I mainly chose it because I was looking for a powerful CPU to play Minecraft at high settings. You don't really need to overclock it to play any games. I haven't overclocked it and I don't really plan to because it works just fine at default. And honestly, I'm too lazy to buy a default or a decent CPU cooler. And for the cooler, it works. The stock cooler works fine. It's 40 degrees Celsius on idle and 60 degrees Celsius on load. Right now, you can buy the FX 6300 for about $89.99 at Micro Center. I'm pretty sure it's $100 at Amazon. So if you have a local Micro Center, you might as well just go there. Also, there's a deal at Micro Center, which I'll bring up later, where if you buy a CPU and a motherboard that are compatible with each other, you'll get $40 off your final purchase. So that's what I did, and it saved me a good $40. So moving on to the motherboard, I chose the Gigabyte GA78 LMT, which is a micro ATX board. And there's not really much to say about it. It's a motherboard. I got it at $20. I got it for $20 at Micro Center. One benefit for using this motherboard is it does have the ability to overclock your CPU. Now you don't really need to overclock it, like I was talking about earlier. It's up to you, honestly. But if you do overclock it, you're probably going to need to buy an external third-party CPU cooler. Otherwise, the CPU probably will overheat, so that's not really good. Moving on to the memory, I bought the Crucial Ballistics Elite. It's one stick of 8GB RAM, and you can't really say much about this either. RAM is RAM. It was clocked in at 1866 gigahertz, or megahertz, sorry, my bad. You can get this for about $35, I believe. So that's pretty good. Moving on to the storage, I got 1 terabyte. I got the Seagate Barracuda. The hard drive's been pretty good. There's no problems with it. It runs at 7200 RPM, and yeah. Moving on to the next part is the GT740 from EVGA. It's 4 gigabytes of VRAM, and honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed in my judgment for this card. I thought it would be better than something like the GTX 750 Ti because it was newer. But I was clearly wrong. It hasn't really showed anything that I really love, aside from the relatively low temps. It's here, let me check the temps. It's 25 while idling and 40 under load. I mean, there's not that much load on it, so it's fine. Moving on to the case, I chose the Thermaltake V3 Black Edition mainly because it was really cheap for the budget, and I did run into a few problems with it, but it looks really nice once you're finished, so it's pretty much worth it. It comes with only 2 standoffs, which is kind of a problem, but the back plate on the case, it has like built-in standoffs, so you can just screw in there. So I guess that's alright. Turns out alright. It also came with the rear intake fan pre-installed. It has blue LEDs on it, which makes for a pretty cool like styled setup. The 2 front USB ports are really useful, and same with the microphone and headphone jack that are on the front. Oh, another problem I had with the case is that the power supply didn't really fit in the slot because of an improperly installed holder for the power supply. So all I did was I unscrewed it and then threw it out, so it turned out just fine. And it's definitely worth it for the $38 I bought it at Micro Center. Moving on to the last part is the EVGA 500 watt power supply. It's non-modular. The power supply ended up costing about $35 at Micro Center. And I'm not really that worried about it being non-modular because you can just use zip ties to tie it to like an empty space in the case. What I did was I moved all of the cables that I didn't need. I just ran them up the hard drive slots, and I just used zip ties to keep them there. And you can't really see it because the window on the case is relatively small, so all you'll be able to see is the motherboard and the GPU. So this computer honestly is really good. I can play most games on it. It was my first gaming computer. I'll probably upgrade it later on, and I'll probably give you guys an update when that happens. Don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed the video, to drop a like below. Yeah, I can do other budget builds if you like, but this is probably the best you're going to get for your money. There's also another side. You could probably go with Intel. So I can make one of those videos if you're really interested in. I know a lot of people are trying to make budget builds, so they can just play some games with their friends, and they don't have all the money to buy like a $1,000 build. So they just want to do something like this. So guys, this has reached the end of the video, and I'm signing off. Goodbye.